But we're getting new details about the terror suspect accused of throwing firebombs at Jewish advocates for Israeli hostages in Boulder, Colorado. The New York Post calling it burning hate. Mohammed Sabri Soliman made his first appearance in court after state officials charged him with 16 counts of attempted murder, with federal officials also announcing they would be charging him with hate crimes. According to authorities, the Egyptian national, who was in the U.S. illegally, had plotted the attack for at least a year, but waited until his daughter graduated before inflicting the terror. And he told officials he would do it again if he had the chance. Hello, everyone. This is Outnumbered. I'm Emily Campagno, here today with the K-Squad, my co-host Kayleigh McEnany, and also joining us, Kennedy, host of the Kennedy Saves the World podcast, Kayleigh McGee-White, Fox News contributor, and John Yoo, UC Berkeley law professor, former Deputy Assistant Attorney General, and former law clerk for Justice Thomas. First, let's go to Alicia Acuna, who is live in Boulder, Colorado, with the latest. Alicia.
Hi, Emily. We also learned from the acting U.S. attorney that Mohammed Soliman also initially tried to buy a gun for his planned attack, but because he is in the country illegally, he was denied. That's when he moved to using fire. The 45-year-old Egyptian national spoke with a judge for the first time yesterday. The state of Colorado is charging him with those 16 attempted murder charges you mentioned, plus additional counts for using an incendiary device. He is also facing a federal hate crime charge, and more could be coming.
Mr. Soliman stated that he had been planning this attack for a year, and he acted because he hated what he called the Zionist group. When he was interviewed about the attack, he said he wanted them all to die. He had no regrets, and he would go back and do it again.
The group that authorities say Soliman targeted was the Boulder chapter of Run for Their Lives, an organization that began almost immediately after the October 7 attacks in Israel. They have chapters all over and meet every Sunday to peacefully show support for the hostages that remain in the hands of Hamas. Fox News spoke with one of its members who told us he helped extinguish his friends who had been set on fire.
We as Jews, and this is not an overstatement, we're being hunted. And this is now proven it. It was already proven when the two young people were killed in D.C. or the governor's home was burned. We're being hunted. And people have asked me today, would you continue to go out? I don't know.
Soliman is being held on a $10 million bond in the Boulder County Jail right now. And Emily, our own Bill Maluzhin reports that ICE has placed a detainer on Soliman in the unlikely event that he makes that bond. Back to you.
Alicia, thank you. Kennedy, you and I were just in Poland together, touring these horrific sites of Jewish atrocities where millions of Jews were eradicated from the country. And we saw a pro-Hamas, anti-Semitic protest 50 kilometers from Auschwitz. And we were there. We were at Birkenau when we learned of the Jewish couple that had been executed on U.S. soil. So the professor's absolutely right that we have to stop the spread of this in our own country. We have to tamp down the language now so that none of this happens again. But will it work?
And so what we talked about with some of our Jewish guides who, so thoughtfully took us on that trip, which I think is a necessity for anyone who really wants to learn about the horrors of the Holocaust. Make that trip to Poland and go to Treblinka and Auschwitz and Birkenau and Majdanek and, the death pits that we saw outside of Tikocin, which was, the once calm hamlet where Jews for hundreds and hundreds of years gathered in a beautiful synagogue, which, is now essentially an empty museum. And, that's not something that happened from 1939 to 1944. That kind of anti-Semitism, it is so active, it is so vile, and we have seen a 300% increase in anti-Semitic attacks just in the last couple of years. And now you have people, these lone wolves who have been radicalized. And it is, if you're using a textbook definition of terrorism, that's exactly what this is. And he was proud of it. He said he would do it again. And there are people who will stop at nothing to be martyrs, and they're fueled by this new wave of anti-Semitism that has to be stopped. People have to be charged, and they are advertising exactly who they are, and it's time to believe them.
Booyah!
I love you.